The Del Greco's leased a breakfast lunch facility. It is what it is. I would recommend that they spend all the energy that they've been doing and fixing up the place, I'm sure with the owner's monies, that they go and pursue like 28. Sullivan's, O'Sullivan's is for rent or ownership. Great breakfast lunch. All the town people, all the town employees used to go there, and then at night was a great. It was a great club. All right, so in was saying what they say in real estate: location, location, location. In this case, it is a bad location, a dangerous location, and a terrible location for any alcohol of any kind ever to be served there. It is what it is. I thank you, gentlemen, for all your efforts in this town.
Proponent, over on the right here. Over on my right. Carol. Sitting on the wrong side of the room.
Carol Zingman, 7 Canterbury Lane, and 60 in Marblehead. I started going to the restaurant probably about a year ago for breakfast with my kids. Got to know the Del Greco's. I've gone out to other restaurants with them, and they're like, yeah, this is what we want to have. You know, it's a family restaurant. It's not going to be a bar. I went and testified at the ABCC hearing, and basically what I took away from that is that if you issue the license with restrictions and they sell or transfer the license, it goes with the restrictions. If you don't allow them to have this and they do win this on appeal, the state board does not issue restrictions, and it could become a drinking establishment. And the commissioner actually recommended at that hearing that you work with the Del Greco's because they're very close to meeting all the town bylaw requirements. And if you don't work with them, they probably will overturn it. And they will issue an unrestricted license. So that's one piece of information that I took away from that meeting. The other piece is that they're not interested in having a bar. They're not going to hire bouncers. They don't want that. They want to have a family restaurant. They're going to hire 12 people. They're not all going to be there at once. It was also my understanding that the whole issue of parking over at Mike's is kind of a moot point because they have the required number of parking. And they worked really hard to meet the needs. They met with Scott Tilton and they changed the lines at every request. They took signs down, they put signs up. They all did that at request, at the request of town officials. They're trying to hit a moving target. Give them a still target. They'll hit it. And it's like, it just feels like you're playing a game here with saying, well, you've done A, B, C through X, Y, Z. Now you got to go do double A and double B and double C. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then what it's really feeling like is there's a personal agenda here and not town bylaw that's really driving the bus. And I don't think that you really want to do that. And my final thing that I wanted to say is there is alcohol unrestricted being served in your neighborhood across the street from the school. It's unlicensed in serving and it's being served now.
Thank you, Carol. An opponent?
Julian Santinello, 7 White Street, North Reading, Mass. It's getting late, and all I want to say is that I am in opposition of it. I don't want it. I don't think it's going to be beneficial to the neighborhood at all. Thank you.
Okay, we have a proponent. Gentlemen?
Patrick Giano, 8 Woodland Drive. You know, it strikes me, when we had I was here at the last meeting in April, and in talking to, and listening to the committee, it sounded at that point there were 3 committee members in favor of this, with them going back to doing some work, which I think they've met. And there was also some discussion, and at that time it was an alcohol license, not a beer and wine license. So I would submit that, I've heard some discussion that there's always the ability, if there is a problem in the use, if the license cannot be renewed. It seems to me that, and I agree with the last speaker, there's a personal agenda here. I think this is a wonderful place. It's not a bar. It's not people getting drunk. It's dinner. Children aren't going to walk by and say, wow, Mommy, look at those people eating dinner. They're going to look at it and say, it's a family atmosphere. I think we owe this community, and communities have to move forward in time. So when I heard the last couple of opponents, and with all due respect to them, they say, it's not about the parking, it's not about this, it's about I don't want alcohol in my neighborhood. Alcohol can be abused if you have an environment where it can be abused. This is not an environment where it can be abused. Thank you.
We have an opponent
Way
that
in the
wants
back,
to
Bob.
speak.
Your far left, way in the back.
Way in the back there.
Hi, my name is Patrick James Holloway. I resided here since 67 to 75, or 76, and then again I moved back here in 94. That particular property that Del Greco worked at is important in my life. When I moved here when I was 14, we used to fish behind there and catch eels and sell it to Joe the barber. We used to run the establishment. He's the barber, but we call him the butcher.
There it.
If you remember. At that time, when I was getting my driver's license, when I turned 16, my father worked for Dow Chemical, which is a very safety-oriented company. And I worked for them, probably one of the safetiest companies in the world as far as what they put into safety. And as my stepfather was teaching me to drive a tractor trailer, he would bring the tractor home and he would show me how to drive and double clutch and all that stuff. And what he would tell me, and I mean, you couldn't get the truck down the road with the lights on and your seatbelt on, whether it was day, night, or it was a car, or anything they drove. So he'd say to me, you know, he would teach me to drive it. When he would go by that intersection, this was back in, I guess, 1969, 70, he would say to me, these are the kind of intersections you always avoid, if you can. It was that bad. Growing up there, we used to hang out at the Bell Market. I can't tell you how many times I've seen kids get hit by bikes. This is 30, almost 40 years ago. And we witnessed so many close accidents, or the ones, even my sister was hit with a bike on that intersection. When I was in high school, my parents moved out of this town, and it is a town, it's not a city, it's a town, and I like that. I'm raising a 14-year-old daughter that lives down the street, and someday I'm going to be teaching her to drive, and that intersection's a bit scary. But when they moved, I lived with a family that the mother had a thrift store in that same location, and they were in business for about a year and a half, her and a friend, and they got out of it because their corner was suicidal. They'd come home and just go, this is the near misses and the accidents. That was just running a thrift store. I've ate in that establishment both breakfast and dinner before the Del Greco took over. I believe they were serving dinner there, but when I ate there, I walked there. I didn't drive there. That corner is just, what we used to say is we would always hope someday, before you put all this money into it, if they'd have talked to me, I could have told them that corner is just, it ain't gonna work. It doesn't work. I mean, there's so many other places, and I agree that the town needs to be vibrant, but I hate to think alcohol has to be something that makes it vibrant. I hate to say that's something that you have to have.
Let the gentleman speak.
So, when they got out of that first one, we were saying, you know, they should just tear that down, but they didn't. Whoever owns it, people have come and gone, and anybody who's lived here long enough have seen how many establishments have gone in there and failed. And it isn't because what they serve or the people, it's where it's located. And you're going to add alcohol there. You know, just the math, just listen to their attorney saying, well, there's 17 parkings, and I look at that stamp and going, are they motorcycles? I mean, 17. But let's just say they add 12 people. That's 12 people who got to drive it. I guess they walk to work. I mean,
Sir,
don't know whether you
sir.
at least 5. Oh, am I
Wrap it
done?
up, wrap it up.
All right, but anyway, I'm all for, nobody eats up more in this town than me. I'm single, I eat out 6.5 times a night a week. And I believe that we need an establishment of dinner. Now, I don't know why we have to bring alcohol to it when just, if it's so good and so, I'm willing to spot and, go there, but it's for the food. I don't understand the beer and wine thing is such an important issue. And if that was their goal at the beginning, then I think we've been deceived, because I didn't think, when I was here in April, I thought this was a closed meeting, and I didn't speak because I thought between the safety patrol people, the police, and what the work they did, I listened to their answer, and they gave us the answer. And now we're back here again. I don't understand, so thank you for your time. Sorry.
We have a proponent that wants to speak. Anybody left, gentlemen?
At Alter on Park Street. I guess I kind of feel the same way coming from the other side. I'm tired of doing this too, and I guess I don't understand it. There are two issues here, I guess. One of them is the safety issue, the concern there. The other is that people don't want alcohol. And I guess, it's up to you guys to decide, is alcohol just plain existing in this part of town something that's an issue? I kind of don't think so based on the other stuff I've seen in this part of town, but maybe it is. The other issue is the safety, and I guess, and I have no legal knowledge, I have no knowledge of, what parking situations are supposed to be, but it just seems to me this is stuff that should have come up when they got the license for the restaurant. Well, why all of a sudden, when this wasn't an issue for years, and they did try, I guess, to do dinner for a while, and the last woman said the last place had dinner there. Why all of a sudden it is an issue now just because of the liquor license? And I realize safety, nighttime, drinking, whatever. But again, if they're willing to put provisions into the license, they're willing to say, this is only for people who are eating dinner, and it's only being done until 10:30. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've done my share of partying in the past when I was in my 20s and 30s. I wasn't going to go to a place that only served me if I had a meal, and it closed at 10:30 at night. It's just, I don't see it becoming that kind of a thing. And I think what they're looking to do is just make it a family restaurant, same thing it is now. Extend that out to the evening hours, and you guys have the power to put restrictions on that license. I don't understand why they're not being at least given the opportunity, and I understand where the residents are coming from, and I certainly can sympathize with them, but I just think it seems like we're turning this into something more than it really is. I mean, we're not talking about a bar, we're not talking about people sitting there just to drink. And the clientele that goes there now, I can't see them changing that dramatically, just because they're open some more hours to get a beer with dinner. At least give them the chance. Thank you.
Any more opponents that haven't spoken that would like to? Gentlemen on the right, on my right.
Hi, my name is James McInerney. I live at 120 Park Street. My concerns are many, but basically public safety. My focus block is 62 because of the proximity of schools, libraries, walking distance for us as kids, and nothing. The property was leased as it is, as a restaurant, as breakfast. There was no alcohol. You're not taking anything away. This is a substantial change in how this place is run, and any place, for that matter, in this matter of town. This is a substantial change, period. And setting the foothold, getting alcohol being served in the town center, to me, is just, maybe I'm fearful of it, but, what is that setting? I have 2 children I'm trying to raise there. As everybody said, you hear these concerns over and over again. Children walking, kids walking, young adults walking. Is adding alcohol going to make it any safer in our center? Does that make it safer? Does that make it any better? No, it's just it's a big change. It is to add alcohol in this area. So that's basically my concern, and I wish them no ill will. Now, and another thing, without alcohol, all these things that they are doing to fix the place up and the parking and everything, would that be required anyways? Is that something that has to be required anyways for them to do? So why is that the big deal?